And
Hmm.
so I believe the quorum would be at least 50%. And so I think that would be 9.
Yeah, it's,
Okay, you,
yeah, we're a little bit shy of a quorum then, because we only have,
Okay. I mean, I guess we can have, I'm sorry, I'm not sure who all is on. And like I said, I apologize for being late. But we can have a quick informal meeting, I think. I don't, if there's, unless there's some urgent business that I don't know about.
I'm pretty sure a quorum is over 50%. I can look it up while we're doing so.
Okay.
And so it's going to be hard to have meetings. We struggled at the last meeting to get a quorum.
Yeah.
We may
Especially
need
now
to
that-
change the bylaws.
Some of us, yeah.
Okay, well, while you're looking up for the what the bylaws say, we can, I guess we can go quickly over the agenda and then see where we're at. Can you print it up,
Yep.
Dan? Okay. All right. So we've got nine folks, but that includes Van. So, okay. I guess we can, I mean, I'm not sure if anybody else is going to join. I'm not sure if Bill's going to be able to join. If he's not on, I didn't see him when I just checked quick. But I guess we can just have a quick update of what's going on and then let everybody go, because it doesn't look like we can have an official meeting. Any questions or comments or worries about that?
no, I agree with you. You don't have enough for official quorum, so it's info only.
Yeah, okay. I mean, there's not much to update folks on. I guess there's a couple things. One is the selection committee for the project manager position has sort of got together over email, and we were happy with the person who applied. And I think the next step is to basically agree on, rate and or an hourly cap. So that will be, that'll be ongoing over the next couple of weeks, I think. Is Tim on? No.
No.
All right. Well, Tim, Bill, and myself were the folks who went through that stuff. I mean, just so everybody knows, it's Amanda who was working with us in the past. So, okay. On when was it? Yeah, on Monday. Well, over the weekend, I got an email from a public and government affairs group. I think it's called the Imperium Group, up in Burlington, and they had asked if we were interested in meeting with a guy named Brock Pierce, who has, I guess, some interest in in helping to various CODs to meet their mission. I mean, Bill and I, Bill's not here, but Bill and I met with them briefly on Monday. We basically told them, what we're doing. We didn't share anything non-public with them. That we were looking to hire a partner to help build out the network. That we were looking to get grants as well as whatever selected partners we have to contribute some of the money to help build the network. And that was it. I don't know. I'm not sure exactly what their interest is, and I think I think this guy is running for Senate from Vermont potentially. I think I saw that in a news article. I mean, at the end of the day, he didn't offer any solutions or anything that we don't have access to from our our status as a COD. So not sure there's anything that's going to come of that. Any questions or comments or about that?
Mm.
I mean, it was a really weird meeting. He seems like a pretty eccentric guy. So, the RFP responses are due on the 25th. I have gotten no more information from anybody. We haven't gotten any more questions or any submissions as of yet. So I'm not sure if there's any other information that's out there about the RFP, but that's, I guess on the 25th, we'll expect to have one or more responses. And then we'll go from there, looking at them and deciding whether we want to go forward with any of these folks. So at some point, pretty soon, we're going to need to come up with some evaluation criteria, I think, or selection criteria for a partner. So if anybody would like to help work on that, that would be great. Does that make sense, or am I?
Yeah, it does. Now, the VCBB has criteria for accepting RFPs. Maybe that criteria could be helpful.
Yeah, I think essentially we're gonna have to dig out the grant application information and then evaluate any of the submissions we get against that. I haven't done anything with the first submission that we got. I scanned through it, but I haven't, dived into it to see anything, because I don't want to sort of put the cart before the horse with, until we get all the submissions back. I don't really want to get in the middle of trying to evaluate anything. So.
Do you have any idea who's considering responding? I know it said Otelco is, and maybe CPI was.
As far as I know, Consolidated is interested in responding, and and they've indicated that they will. But I guess we'll see on the 25th.
Good, I think.
I don't. There was one or two other folks who've expressed interest, I think, but I don't know whether any of that's going to materialize or not. So. Does anybody know? Is there like a state law that governs things like the quorum for us to meet? Or is that just something that we put in our bylaws and so we're having to live by it? I guess because what I'm worried about is that as we get, as the RFP responses come back, we're gonna need to be able to make some decisions. And if we're not able to have a quorum, we're gonna be kind of hosed. So,
Mhm.
so
I know in other meetings, you have to have above half of the registered members of the board. Like if it's a
Yeah.
5-member board, you gotta have 3. Even if there's only 3 members present, they can still constitute a quorum
right,
if it's a 5-member board.
Right.
So going by that, you have to have the plurality of members.
yeah. Does anybody
Right.
know whether or not folks are allowed to give a proxy?
Don't know that.
I guess maybe that's a question we can ask our lawyer.
Yeah.
Whether or not folks are allowed to have grant a proxy to people who can attend, just so that we can actually, have a quorum and meet. And obviously,
Yeah, VLCT should have some stuff on their website as well
Correct.
about that.
okay.
Right.
Can
So,
somebody, Jackie, could you maybe take a look and see if you can
yeah,
find
let me
it?
take a look. I have the auditor coming first thing in the morning, but once I get him set up.
Yeah, I don't think it's urgent. I mean, obviously, it'd
Yeah.
be nice to know before our next meeting, though.
Yeah, yeah, once I get the auditor out of here.
Sounds fun.
Uh,
Yeah, audits are always fun. I've always loved
Oh, never ending.
that. Okay. So I don't know if any other folks have questions or anything. Happy to stay on and talk some more, but if we don't, then I think we can adjourn formally.
I'd ask, I mean, maybe we have to decide this at a meeting with a quorum. Is there, would there be some value? I'd be willing to do this, to do like a little reach out campaign to our member towns.
Yeah, I think we need to,
And
I think
say,
we
"Yo."
need to, I think we need to sort of reach out and touch people before the meetings. To make sure that we get a quorum, because a lot of times it's not that big of a deal.
Right.
But coming up with the RFP responses and stuff like that, we're going to need to make some decisions. And
Exactly.
if we can't do that with a quorum, then if we
Right.
can't figure out a way to get a quorum by either having folks grant a proxy. And I mean, other boards of directors, like in the commercial world, then you can have you can proxy in for stuff, but I don't know if there's if that's allowed in the laws of Vermont for this type of entity. So,
Well, we can check. And you mentioned bylaws. Does Otter Creek CUD have
yeah, they're
set of
posted
bylaws? I don't see them on the website.
they're posted on our website. I think
They are? I didn't
Jackie,
find
you know
them, but
where they're at? I think they're in the About Us section. Maybe it's down the bottom of one of the pages.
I thought I saw them once.
Because that's where I have downloaded them and read them from in the past. At least they were there last time I checked.
There it is, organization documents. Yep.
Yeah, you find them?
Yeah.
Okay.
If we can get a quorum together, and this is just a question, we seem to have pretty good luck at getting the executive committee to be at quorum, whatever that is.
Yes.
Then maybe we need to, as the board, maybe you all need to say that the executive committee is empowered to evaluate the RFP responses and make recommendations to the full board meeting.
Mhm.
That way you'd have a smaller group that seems, you know, fewer cats to herd. Maybe get it done more quickly, Tony.
Hello?
Hi.
Oh, did I miss you?
Yeah, I just didn't know if we could, I don't know what the parameters of the executive committees.
Yeah, I would need to ask a lawyer who understands how the whole thing is constituted. I can make some guesses, but I wouldn't want to run afoul of what the law says. So
Yeah, VLCT could probably help. I mean, our bylaws, when they do say a quorum is over 50%, which is pretty standard. It does say that any action has to be taken by, majority vote. So then I'm not sure, you might have to rewrite the bylaws or get some kind of statement, get some information, like you said, from VLCT. Because, these things might be written into state statute.
oh, that's what I'm wondering,
Yeah,
right?
right. Does governing
it's-
board,
If there's a law that governs it, then we're not going to be able to change it no matter what our bylaws say.
right.
You also
Okay.
might be able to have the whole board give the
Delegation of authority.
authorization- Yeah, give authorization to the executive committee to make the decision on,
That's true,
voting
right?
for the proxy.
Right. That's actually one of the things I was wondering about. Should we have some kind of a delegation of authority document that, says, who has to approve different actions.
Right.
Okay.
I
We
mean,
have
it's the
7
executive-
members
Yeah,
on our executive committee now. That's what our bylaws say.
All right. Anything else that we need to talk about before we adjourn informally?
I had a question, but I'm not
Sure,
sure
sure.
if anybody knows. So I'm hearing at the Vermont, the VCC board that, Van, you mentioned this to me, that the training for the ArcGIS website that the CUDs are to maintain. I mean, we're a ways away from needing that, but that those trainings are going on now. The consultant Stone Environment is doing them. So just wondered how that, if anyone has information, if anyone's contacted you guys about that.
Nobody sent anything to me about it.
I think
Okay.
Will contacted us a while ago. And at that point, I don't think trainings were set up, but I have not heard, since we didn't have a name to turn in at that point, maybe we didn't fill off that list. Larry, does Will have a replacement?
He does not. He is still continuing to handle the emails and the calls. But he has no replacement yet. And no one's stepped forward with an interest yet, but they are looking for someone.
Okay,
He did attend the last OCCUD meeting.
so could he get Laura to information on the trainings that are going on?
That one should come from Rob Fish.
That's from Rob? Okay.
Yeah, from VCB, but this training has not been mentioned in a BACUDA meeting, and VCB is there on the meetings. It hasn't even been brought up yet, so this is news to me.
Yeah, I hadn't heard anything about
Nope.
it either.
I will write Rob Fish and copy Tony and Laura and see what the status of the training is.
Thanks, Van.
The other big news out of the VCBB that the $95 million in ARPA funds that's coming from the state, those were intact. So that's good news. And then the $100 million from the infrastructure fund, those aren't going to be released until 2023.
Okay.
And the only other thing is, we went around and took turns just explaining where each CUD is. And, we all know we're doing something completely different than the other CUDs, with the exception of Southern Vermont CUD. And then time ran out, so there was no report from Southern Vermont CUD as to where they are. They're going pretty much, looks like the same route we're doing, trying to partner with an ISP. But hopefully our next meeting, which is May 31st, we'll hear from Southern Vermont. And the only other piece is, there's a 5-year, they're trying to stick just with the 5-year projection to get fiber optic throughout the state. May take longer, but they don't want to really do that, because when you're trying to get funding from the legislature, if you tell them you're going to stretch it out, then they're going to stretch out when you're going to receive the money. So the goal hasn't changed, to get world-class internet, which will last, basically, they say, for 2 generations, which is 50 years. So that's the goal for the whole state. Yeah. About most of the updates. Some of the VCUDA members, have stepped up to help out with Will not being there. There was no update on shared services, so they're, like auditing and things. There's a firm that's going to be calling VCUDA members to get details on services that are needed. But there's 2 volunteers from VCUDA that have stepped up that are going to handle those calls for everyone else. So that's it from VCUDA.
So Larry, I have a question.
Sure.
Since you mentioned that Otter Creek is doing something completely different, although similar maybe to Southern Vermont. So, sorry, but I don't know what that is. What's a good, and I don't need to hold up this meeting, but what's a good way to understand what we are doing as completely different? I mean, I've read through our RFP relatively briefly. I could read all the other CUDs RFPs, I suppose.
So most of the other CUDs are standing up ISPs essentially, right, Larry?
What do you mean standing up ISPs? I'm not sure what you mean by that.
They're I think they're intending to build the network and become an ISP on their own. If I
Yeah,
get it
so
right.
basically we had this massive build out from CCI or Fidium Fiber, whatever you want to call them, in Rutland County. And I guess it happened in Bennington County too. That didn't happen throughout the state. So basically, like Tony just said, the other 7 CUDs are basically starting from scratch. They're doing their own build out. You know, if we didn't, in other words, if Consolidated had not done the build out in Rutland County, we'd be doing it from scratch. But so they're taking on a whole different route of doing their own build out and, you know, way ahead of us in what they're doing. So
I see.
they're like, you know, they've hired really experts to come in and, you
Yes,
know, knowing what to buy for hardware and fiber optic.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're doing their own build out.
yes. Okay, that makes
I mean, I
sense.
guess if our strategy didn't work, you know, that may be a road we have to go down, but hopefully our strategy works.
Great.
I mean,
So
if we
we-
have to do that, it'll be much more expensive, I believe,
Mhm.
than what we're trying to do.
Yeah, we're
Got
basically
it.
taking off where Consolidated stopped and getting out to that last miles, which is basically every premise that does not have fiber optic. So we kind of take off where Consolidated has stopped.
Oh,
Mhm.
so does that mean that we're intending to overbuild the Comcast cable?
Yeah, basically CCI has already done that.
No,
Well, in some areas. Yeah.
some areas,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that, yeah, with this and with market, that's what happens, but
And
oh,
so,
interesting.
so like CCI, they're not regulated. They go as far as their, you know, marketing says they're going to make money. You know, so basically, you know, that next house is a half mile down the road. It's not in anyone's interest to build that last half mile because you're not going to get your return. That's where the CUDs come in to get that fiber out to that last premise.
Exactly. Okay, that's good. Thank you. That's
Yeah.
all I need. I can continue reading between the lines. And
And when they
thinking,
say every premise in the state, of course, this is a nationwide thing. Basically, there has to be utility poles there that already have electricity on them. So basically, you know, hunting camps and
Yes.
things like that, they're not going to see fiber optic. So,
Right. I
Exactly.
think the definition is any grid connected
yes,
premise.
right. Which is
Electricity
the,
grid connected premise.
which is exactly the information that I took a look at and provided to Van. I don't know if you guys had a chance to see it. Wait, who's Mendon?
that's me, Larry.
Larry.
Yep.
So did you notice that all of the addresses all down like Wheelerville and Notch Road and all of those are all camps, but they're shown as eligible addresses. I mean, same in North Shrewsbury. We have camps in the very north that actually, yeah, are on North Branch Road. And does that connect to Wheelerville or Notch? I forget now.
Well,
Those are off-grid.
those are
premises.
off grid. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So it was a huge chunk.
So in
You know,
Wheelerville,
it's the camps in the
Yeah.
mountains. So it's going to be Mendon, Shrewsbury. There's
yeah,
probably a little bit in Chittenden. Didn't seem to be so much in
There is.
Chittenden,
Yeah.
but
so that's a good point. Like in
those maps
Wheelerville,
are
Wheelerville
really
is
incorrect.
Wheelerville Road is 7 miles long. There's
Exactly.
utility poles, but they're not the right kind, as Van would know, for electricity. So they're strictly phone lines. But my travels up in Wheelerville, CCI installed fiber optic on those poles.
Hmm.
And it's all, you know, there's some permanent residents, but most of them are hunting camps. But there's fiber optic up there. Why they ran it up there, I don't know. It's up there.
Well, just at the north part up near Route 4, probably.
No, it's on this end, on the south end, that I saw the fiber optic.
Oh,
It's
Good.
it's what they call dead fiber because nobody is hitching onto it. So
and there's electric utility?
no, just phone and now fiber optic, no electricity.
Oh, so
Mhm.
that's interesting because that is like an oddball rule. I mean, all of Wheelerville, it shows up as not, like underserved and not served. But you're saying they have fiber. That's kind of bizarre.
I don't, yeah, there's a new line going up through there. I didn't
know-
follow it to see how far.
That's the reason these CUDs exist, because Stone Environmental is not walking through all of these towns. I mean, I've driven through my town. I know where the Comcast cables are. I know where there's electric power. I know where CCI is. I know where, because you can look at the poles and the equipment on them and know.
Mhm.
So I can provide that information to the CUD, which will go to our business partner, it should go to Stone Environmental, who's doing the mapping.
Yeah, I'm not sure how accurate those maps are. I mean,
Well,
I
exactly, but they're not going to get accurate unless there's
somebody
input.
fills them in, yeah.
I mean, the statute, all the information is written to say the CUDs know what's going on in their town. So that's going to be very helpful for this whole
Mhm.
process, because the CUDs know their towns. But if we don't say anything,
Yeah.
what good is that?
Mhm. Interesting.
Anything else we need to talk about before we adjourn? All right, I'll take that as a no.
There you go.
And I guess I guess we have the executive committee meeting will be in next month. I don't remember the date. I don't have it in front of me, unfortunately.
The 8th.
June 8th.
Yeah. And then the 15th, it would follow that the 15th would be the next full board meeting.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Thanks, folks.
Thanks.
And
Bye,
apologize
thanks, everybody.
for being late.
Right.
Thanks.
Have a good buggy night.
Bye-bye.